Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for joining us today. I see some new people that are joining us. Mark, thank you for joining us. Jordan, hi, Jordan. Shout out to you. Thank you for joining us today, Jordan and John. Anyone that I've missed, I want to just say a general thank you to everyone. Truly appreciate you showing up today for this webinar that we have for you. As part of our technical webinar series. So today, our webinar is going to be about learning how to edit videos with Premiere Pro and Adobe After Effects. And the one and only person that's going to be offering that or providing that to you today, instruction, is Joshua Reed. Joshua is the founder and CEO of Influ. It is a social media business that has created an app that automated the social media process. They streamlined it. It's Influ 2.0 right now, and it's phenomenal. I use it for our Impact program. I'm not a social media guru, so I really appreciate Influ and all of the changes and updates that they made over the last year and a half. It's very easy to use. I'm not going to continue talking about it because I always end up screwing it up, but it is a social media app. It is a wonderful tool, and I'm going to let Joshua explain a little bit more about Influ, his background a little bit, and then kick off this next training that we have here. So thank you so much, Joshua, for facilitating this workshop for us today. We truly appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. This is, what number is this? Week?
This is week number 9.
Yeah, week number 9. So we have been spending a lot of time together for the last couple of months and covering a lot of topics. To those who are new, welcome. To those who are returning, thank you for returning. And we also appreciate your feedback and reviews. 5-star right now, so it's been going pretty well. It's because of you. You ask questions. You make these webinars pretty straightforward for myself as a facilitator to continuously teach you things that's going to help you in your business. So thank you. Now today we have a fun topic. This is one of my favorites: how to edit videos with Premiere Pro and Adobe After Effects. And once again, I'm Josh Reed, the founder of Influ, and we are Ms. Deborah. You did a great job. We are a software company, and we've automated social media marketing for businesses and enterprise companies. So another 10 minutes, you can automate your content, your captions, hashtags for the entire month, and powered by artificial intelligence as well as machine learning. So right now we're in 60 different industries, so you guys can check it out, influ.com. But now let's get to the fun stuff here. I'm going to share my screen. You can see my screen?
Yes.
Yes. All right, perfect. So as you can see, how to edit videos with Premiere Pro and Adobe After Effects. And I'm going to go to the quick agenda. Today is 60 minutes, and I'm going to take you through the basics, but then we're going to get a little fancy, okay? And everything I'm sharing with you, this is on demand. So if you don't get it today, it's okay. It's being recorded. You can always refer back to it at a later time. So this course will teach you how to edit videos and create lower thirds and logo intros in Adobe Premiere Pro and After Effects with an easy to follow Premiere Pro video editing demonstration. So I'm going to take you through the process from A to Z, pretty much, how to open a program, and then how to create an actual logo intro, how to edit videos, fix the coloring, and then how to export it so you can use it in your projects. So the topics we're going to cover is how to start a project with the right settings, which is very important, how to export and save your videos for high definition playback, how to edit your videos and make them more dynamic with cutaway footage and photos, and then color correct your video to fix issues with white balance and exposure. So pretty much, how do you get those greens and those oranges to really pop, that saturation? How do you just make it look very clean and very presentable for your projects, whether you're using it in presentations, whether you're using it for your blog or you're uploading to your website? We're going to be walking you through that from A to Z, and I'm always going to refer back to tutorials and webinars that we've already done. So I believe last week we did advanced webinar on Canva, and we've done, we taught you how to develop your website from A to Z. We've taught you how to take your video and your Zoom meeting to the next level. taught you about podcasts, taught you about graphic design. We've just taught you a number of different tools in the last 8 weeks before today that I'm going to be referencing back within this particular webinar. So if there's something you don't get, you can always go back to those webinars on demand and just watch it. And we take our time with it. And the whole point is for us to educate you so you can get to using this tool immediately after this webinar is done. Okay. So house rules, how does it happen? Interact with the webinar. So I see you guys in the chat, right? Ask questions just to see how you're doing. I always like to check your temperature and make sure that you're following along. Make sure I'm not going too fast. So if I'm going too slow, you want me to speed up the webinar. I just like to go at a pace that is most comfortable for everyone. But again, you can always come back and watch a later time, which brings me to the next point. Always ask questions. Okay, what I'm showing you guys today, there are practitioners and facilitators out there that charge hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to learn this information. And MBAC is making this available to you at no cost, right? So now there's a downside to that because typically, you know, us, and we're all guilty of it, when we don't have much skin in the game, meaning if we haven't put nothing in, then we tend to not take full advantage of it, right? And so this is not the case. You want to make sure you ask any questions that you have, take full advantage of the next 60 minutes together, because we want you to be able to get to using what we're showing you right now immediately at 12 p.m. today, right? So as soon as you're done, you can get back to it. You always come back and follow it. And if there's something, if we have a little extra time, I always like to jump back and forth between the chat and the Q&A, and I'll try to address those questions during this webinar. So don't be shy. And last but not least, don't be hard on yourself. So as I've always shared, I know a little about a lot. It's very dangerous, but it's very helpful because if it's something I want to do, I typically can open up my laptop and execute on it. And that's the whole point of these webinars, to put you in that same position. So don't be hard on yourself. And it took me, you know, I've been doing this for over a decade, and it's not something you're going to get overnight, which you may get on the second and third try. But the most important piece is I'm not doing anything that you guys can't learn how to do. And that's what these webinars are for. So be patient and continuously try, and always reach out to us if you have questions, because that's what we're here for. All right. So you guys ready to go? I think your pace is great. Absolutely. You ready to go? You ready to go? Drop it in the chat. Those keys are in front of you, them fingers on your hands, you know, just hit it. Maybe you've got voice recognition. You could talk to your computer and it does it for you. That works too. All right, cool. Let's get to the business. All right, so here we go. So learn how to use Premiere Pro and After Effects in 60 minutes. So I'm going to be using some templates that you guys can use, because you can either go the route of us as, you know, let's say Premiere Pro gurus, where we like to get in and create everything from scratch, or you can go the route where you can use what's out there. So you got Photoshop, right? Where you can, if you can find templates, you can dig them up and use them and import them into Photoshop and edit them. Or you can just use Canva, right? Well, Canva has thousands of templates that you can click and plug and play. So I'm going to be walking you through some templates that you can upload to Premiere Pro, upload to After Effects, and I'm going to walk you through how to edit them and export them. I'm going to also show you how to do some manual customizations as well. So I'm not going to, you know, completely confuse you and losing the process, but I'm going to show you how to do it the more sophisticated way, in a more cost efficient way. And then I'm also show you how to do some things if you want to get a little bit more fancy, a bit more manual. So number one, we're going to try to customize the interface, basically how to get your dashboard to look the way you want it to look. I like to have two screens up. I can see what the footage is, and I can see the effects that I put on it. That way I can see the changes right before me. How to import your files, how to view your assets. Assets is pretty much anything that you've uploaded into the software itself. So your video clips, maybe your graphics, maybe any pictures you're using, it hosted all in one location. And then how to create your sequence. A sequence is basically a project within a project. So you have your project, which is the umbrella, and then you have your different sequences. So your different projects within that project. So you got project, umbrella, and then you got sequence A, sequence B. So maybe sequence A is, you know, your daughter's softball game, and then sequence B is highlight reel from your class reunion. And the project umbrella is my edited videos. So how do you break that down and organize it? To how to navigate your timeline. Your timeline is where all the footage is taking place. To how to edit your sequence, again, how to edit your project within the project. How to adjust the audio levels. You can fade in, you can fade out. You can add some sound effects. I'm gonna show you how to do that. How to add transitions. A transition is basically how you go from one video to the next? Are we fading into that video? Are we going to do a hard cut into the next video? Are we going to have some, make the video rotate, which we're not going to do that. We're going to do all professional transitions today. And then creating graphics, it's fairly straightforward within the platform. And then how to export and upload. So pretty much once your project is done, how do you export it into a .mov file or a .mp4? So a lot of your videos are either MOV at the end. So, you got .pdf, you have .jpeg, you have, .png. So video files, you got .mov and .mp4. And I'm going to show you how to export to that as well. So you can upload it to YouTube or Vimeo.
Joshua?
Yes.
Gloria has a question. She says, can you do this on an iPhone XR?
Do what?
I guess the editing Premiere Pro. She wants to know if you can do it on a phone.
Premiere Pro, that's a great question. I've never edited Premiere Pro. I've never edited using Premiere Pro on an iPhone. They do have an app, but it's not as powerful as using your actual laptop, because you got to upload videos, you got to upload photos, and if you have a 5 gigabyte, 4K video trying to upload to your phone and then trying to edit that within Premiere Pro, it could be a little taxing on your phone itself. But they do have, they have Lightroom on your phone that you can do, but again, the features are limited. They have Photoshop you could do on your phone, but again, the features are limited. And again, it's because of the processing, the amount of space is taken up on your phone to really execute all the different tasks. So you'll notice that if I'm editing a 4K video, and the 4K is the resolution. So, right, you have 720, you have 1080, you have, you can go up to 4K. You can go up to 5K as well. So obviously the higher the resolution, the more resources it's going to use to edit it. And on your phone, I'm just not sure, it may slow it down a little bit. So I would definitely try to use this software on a computer. And for those who want to know, I'm using a Mac today. So in case you're wondering what I'm using. All right, so let's transition over to the software, okay? I'm gonna break down, I think what I wanna do first. What I wanna do first is something that I think is gonna be beneficial to everybody, because I think if you have an idea, if you have a business, you more than likely have a logo, right? So I'm gonna jump over to Premiere Pro first, and then let me know if they answer your question too.
Joshua, I just want to bring to your attention, I'm not sure if it's on my end or your end, but sometimes you're freezing or you're pausing. So I just want to make you aware of that. I'm not sure what's happening. It usually doesn't happen, but I just want to bring that to your attention.
Okay, thanks. I'm not sure. Not doing anything different. Let me see. All right, let me share a different screen here. No worries, I'm just shifting screens. Let's share this one. Let's jump on over to this one. Screen's floating around here. All right, so everyone can see After Effects, right? Cool. So what I'm gonna do is, now, you can do a new project, or I'm gonna do open project. So I'm gonna do two things that you guys say. I'm gonna do a logo, and then I'm gonna do a lower third project. Now, a good website where you can find great templates, it's called elements.envato.com. And I'm gonna drop that down in the chat. Elements. Okay. Let me put this in the chat area so you can see. Okay, so that's the link. I would definitely check out that link and just browse. There's a lot of great templates there that you can search for logo intros, you can search for lower thirds, you can search for presentation, PowerPoint presentations, and it would just bring up thousands of different templates that you can browse through, and whatever you like, you can download it. Now, of course, there's a fee, it's a subscription fee. And the one I sent you, I think is like $16 a month, or you can pay annual, whichever is within your budget or preference. I always like to try things free and then based on how much I use it within that time frame, more than likely I will pay for it to continue to use it. So that's what I use to find the templates today. So what I'm going to do is, and I created a folder as well. So I'm going to open project. Okay, let's go desktop. I created a folder, Impact 2021 tutorials, Premiere Pro. And then I'm going to open, I really like this clean logo one. So I'm going to create a logo intro video for Impact right now. All right. And then I'm going to take that video and I'm going to jump over to Premiere Pro and I'm going to create a nice, elegant intro logo, transition over to a video and just kind of go through each step so it's easier for you to follow. So first things first, let's go ahead and create this logo. So I'm going to open Clean Logo 3D. All right. Click open. And the great thing about it, like Canva that we did last week, it's all a matter of just knowing what things are. Now, when you look at this, you're like, man, there's a lot going on. I know, because when I first started learning how to use it, I was like, man, there's a lot of buttons and widgets. But let's break this down, okay? So here's your composition. Here's your video. Here's where it's going to display everything that's taking place. Just like Canva, how there's a screen that has your template and you can make edits there. But here I can't make edits directly on this video. So I'm going to make my edits down in this box. And Premiere Pro is the exact same way. This is your timeline. This is where you make adjustments to your timeline. Okay. This is where all your files are. So this template I just opened, all the files that make the adjustment to that template are located in this particular area on the left-hand side. And let me turn on my Cursor Pro so you can see where my cursor is. All right, here we go. So here's where all your files are. And they normally do a great job of just breaking it down where it says, edit this, do not edit, render scene. So this is where all the edits are going to be made. And then your solids, which you don't have to worry about, okay? The boxes. Okay, yeah, so top left, this is all your project files. Okay, this is where your assets are. I don't like to get all fancy. I like to just break it down, keep it simple. Assets is a fancy way to say where all your files are located to edit. So this is where it hosts all your files at. So if I upload a picture or logo here, this is where it's going to be. This is where I edit these files. This entire section right here is where I'm going to make the edits to those files. Here's where your timeline is. It shows you the duration of the file that you're editing. All right, from 0 to 11, 12 seconds. Let me see. How long is this? Yeah, 10 seconds. All right, 11 seconds. And then this is where all the magic is taking place. So this is what we're editing today. So we're going to make a 3D logo intro for the Minority Business Assistance Center. Okay. And then we're going to do another example of lower thirds, and you're going to see how it works. That way you got two different scenarios, two different projects, but where everything is the exact same. All right. So let's get to it. Now we want to follow instructions. It says edit this. We're going to double click this folder and it's going to expand that folder and it shows logo color picker. So this is where you're going to change the color of your logo. It says logo replace. So this is where we're going to replace the logo that they have as a placeholder and then shatter map adjustment. So this is a shattered glass logo intro, right? And if we want to adjust the amount of shatterness, if that's a word, this is where we're going to do it. So we're going to leave that one alone. I think the logo intro is just fine. So first things first, we're going to replace our logo. So now what do you want to do? You want to upload your logo or you can drag and drop it. So let's do this. I already have the logo saved on my desktop. So I'm just going to drag it right here into my asset folder. See that? So I just drag and drop that logo right into my project folder, okay? Now, let's go to logo replace.
Joshua, is there any way you can make this a little larger?
Unfortunately, no.
Okay.
I can't zoom in like on a website.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I can't zoom in like on a website, but when you watch it, you can also right now zoom in on your screen as well. So if you're watching in Zoom, you can zoom in into this particular area of your screen. And that would look big on your end. So now in the logo replace, I'm going to double click logo replace. Okay. So this is that logo that is a placeholder. Do you see where it says logo replace logo? We're going to double click this. And it opens it up right here. So now again, this screen is showing what you are editing. So let's just close this to eliminate confusion. Close this one, close this one. So right now we're editing replace logo, okay? So we're gonna take this logo, and there's a couple different ways you can do it. I'm using a Mac, so I'm gonna hold Option, all right? I'm gonna hold the Option key, okay? I'm gonna click this, hold Option, click the logo I just dropped into my asset folder, drag it right on top of this, and let go. And it replaces that logo. There's another way you can do it, okay? So you don't want to do it that way. You like to stick to the basics. I like to delete, and then I like to drag and drop. Okay, so let me undo this. Okay. Wait a minute. It's not letting me undo it. Okay, I'm gonna show you another way you can do it. Now, you can also do it this way. You can just simply delete the logo and then drag it and drop it right in. So that works too. So if you want to just delete, drag and drop, you can do that. The shortcut is holding Option down and then dragging the new logo on top of the old one, and it will replace this logo. And that's it. That's all you got to do. Now, we're going to go back to your render scene. Remember the screen that shows you all the changes that you've made. We've already replaced the logo, so we can close this folder. Then we're going to go here to your render scene tab, because this is what you're going to export. We're going to see what we just made. We'll look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Okay, so this is what we just made. Real fancy. Okay. Now it says logo color picker. Now, what do you want to do? Remember, anytime you want to edit something, like we did in Canva, like we did on Wix, like we did in WordPress, what's the magic thing you do? You double click. So let's double click. Logo color picker, double click. Okay. Now it says color picker. I'm going to click that. We're going to expand this folder. Go here, more down the timeline so we can see what we're doing. Now it says we want to pick our color. So what do you want to do to pick it? You click that, and then it's going to bring up this color box. Okay, so anytime you want to edit any particular file in this area, there's drop downs, there's more drop downs, right? So here we just want to control the color. So I'm going to click this. It's going to bring up this color screen. And let me get Inback's brand color. 1 second. Remember what I showed you in Canva last week, how to create your brand kits. If you wasn't here, make sure you refer back to last week's webinar, where you can store all the color codes for your brand so you don't have to keep remembering things. And I stored it for Inback in Canva, and all I got to do is drag and drop, copy and paste, and there we go. It's a little dark. I'm just going to use their, I'll probably just use white. Just drag it up like that. It's easy to see. Cool. Okay. Oh, that looks good. All right. So now that's it. Your 3D logo is done by using After Effects. Now, in order to do this, you have to use After Effects, which allows you all these graphics and fancy animations, okay? Where did you get the color you saved from? Oh, great question. So let me just show you this right quick, what it looks like. So this is Canva. So remember last week I showed you how to create brand kits within Canva. So I already have the color, all the color for Inback's branding saved right here. So all I simply got to do is click it and copy their code, take that code, go here, click this color box, and put the code right here. That's it. And then it changed the color for me. So now we've edited everything that we need to do within this logo. So now you're done, right? So we're going to click on render scene because we don't want to render this logo color picker. We don't want to render replace logo. We want to render the entire file itself. And these are all the files within this file, okay? In this video. So every file you see here makes up this video. Now let's export. We're going to go to File. We're going to go to Export and add to render queue. So everything in the Adobe space, exporting videos, the fancy word is called render. So I'm rendering my file. Rendering is basically exporting the completed video. So in Adobe terms, in the practitioner world, the lingo is called render. So I'm gonna add the render queue. Then it brings up your render queue folder. So we have, let's delete this one. Let's delete this one. Let's just make sure we got the right one. Do it again. Export, add to render queue. Okay. Now, the only thing I want you to do here, now pay attention to this part because it's going to be different when we export your lower thirds. Because on the lower thirds, we want a transparent background. So here we don't need a transparent background. So we're going to keep this output module as a lossless. Don't touch anything else. Only thing I want you to touch in this particular situation is where you're going to export the folder. Output to. We're going to click our folder here, which is Premiere Pro. I'm going to change the name of this file and back logo demo. Hit save. And then hit render. All right, so it takes a little while. This is probably going to take about, I don't know, maybe a minute or so, a couple minutes. Now, after this finishes rendering and exporting, I'm then going to take this file and I'm going to drag it and drop it into Premiere Pro, which is where we're going to create the actual video itself and back. Okay, and now so I'm going to show you how to do all the transitions and color corrections and all that fun stuff. Okay. Any questions right now? While this is exporting?
I don't see any questions for you in the Q&A or in the chat.
Okay. Oh, I see Anita, I think. Oh, did you get the color? Okay, we answered that. Yeah, lossless. So yeah, great question. So when you go to export and you add to render, the only thing I want you to do is change where you're going to output that file. You don't have to worry about anything else. Okay, I don't want you to worry about the lossless or the render settings. We're going to keep that on best settings, and it's going to automatically populate that for you. Let me do this. I got you. Watch this. What should I do here? That means it's done. Okay. All right, so that little area down at the bottom, when you hit add to render, you're gonna see these options. The only thing I want you to change is where you're gonna output that file to. You're gonna output to select the folder, name it, and that's it. So I don't want you to touch this stuff over here. Don't worry about this. These are automatically gonna be set correctly for you. You're just gonna change, you're gonna output that folder. All right, so now, okay, that is done. Now we're gonna jump on over to Premiere Pro.
Joshua,
Yeah.
Kirsten is asking about the cost of the software.
Great question. Actually, Adobe has a package called Creative Cloud, where there's a monthly subscription. And I believe the subscription is $52.99 a month, but it is a year commitment. So that's what it gets you. So it's not like you can use it for 3 months and then cancel. They do lock you in for a year, but you don't have to pay it all up front. It is $50 a month for 12 months. So you can go to Adobe Creative Cloud, and that's where you can sign up, and it gives you access to the full Adobe suite. If you're on this and you're a student, I actually think it's almost like 75% cheaper or even more. It's discounted even more. Actually, it may be like $20 a month or something like that. So if you are a student, they do have a deal for you as well. But if you're just, you're not a student, then I believe it's $50 a month subscription fee. And it gives you access to everything: Adobe, Premiere Pro, Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, Lightroom, and every Adobe suite it gives you access to. Okay, so let's do this. I think there was one more in the chat. Thank you. Absolutely. All right, cool. Now, everyone, it's 11:30. Is everyone following me so far? Are you good? I want to make sure. Let me know down in the chat. Okay. Now, this is one that you had to come back and watch a couple times. You understand? So I could, okay, good. All right, great. Let's get back to it. I just want to make sure you got your coffee in your system. You got that green tea going, maybe a little bit of turmeric, some, ginger. So make sure you're fully focused, okay? This is one of the movies that you can't like go to the bathroom and then come back and say, hey, what happened? Because it's too much to explain, okay? So make sure you locked in. So now I'm gonna switch screens again. I'm gonna jump on over to Premiere Pro, okay? Let's go to Premiere Pro, desktop 3, okay. Here we go. Now again, it looks just like After Effects, right? It just does something different. Here we're gonna do new project. Here. Okay, so we're actually gonna browse. We're gonna pick the location we want this project to go into. Desktop, Pro. That's where I want to save this file. That way I always know where things are. Back, logo, video, demo. Name it, okay? You can keep all these files the same. Don't worry about this stuff, okay? Hit okay. Now, doesn't it look the exact same? Yes, it does. Exact same. Features are different, but where things are pretty much work hand in hand, okay? So now what I want you to do, the first thing I want you to do when you come into Premiere Pro, I want you to import your media. The reason why I want you to import your media is because if I take you this route where I say, I want you to do new sequence, because this is the project, then it's going to show you all this fancy stuff where you got to worry about knowing what the exact frames per second of your video is, the resolution, then you got to search through all these fancy buckets to find, okay, where's my 1080p? Where's my 4K? Easiest thing I want you to do to keep it simple and let the machine work for you is you're going to import your media. You're going to drag your media to your timeline, right? Remember, this is your timeline. And it's going to automatically read the frames per second, that FPS means frames per second, of your video. It's going to automatically calculate the resolution of the video so you don't have to guess. And if you do decide to create your sequence yourself and you select the wrong one and you drag and drop and it doesn't match, it's going to ask you, do you want Premiere Pro to set the correct settings? And you can just click yes, and then it'll fix it for you. But the easiest way to do it is just to upload it and then drag and drop it, and then it'll create the file for you. All right. So what do we want to do to upload? We can go down here where it says import media, right click, and go import. Then you're going to search your desktop. So I already have 2 videos that I'm going to import, and then I'm going to also import the logo video. So I got 2 pretty cool files, a slow cut, bread slicing, and then some nature. So I'm going to import both of these videos, click them, hit import. Okay, so you probably can't see it, but let me do my little way of showing you small font. I'm gonna show you what it is. All right. So there, you see where it says FPS? So now I'm showing you the game, right? I'm showing you the lingo. FPS is frames per second. All right. So let's say, for example, in cinema, right? In movies, they're shooting at 24 frames per second. That's like that cinematic feel. And sort of that out of the box camera is going to be shooting at that 30 frames per second. But if you want crystal clear slow motion video, you want to shoot it at a much higher rate. So when you slow it down, it doesn't make it jittery and jumpy. Because if I shoot at 24 frames per second, right, and then I try to slow that down like half the speed, it's going to be very choppy. So that's what that frames per second, that's what this stuff means. If you want a slow motion video of somebody running in a park, or maybe, you're creating some emotion, and that emotional music with that slow video of a couple or of a baby, it like creates an emotion, right? And if you want that smooth transition, you want to shoot it at the video at 120 frames per second or 60 frames per second, depending on the type of camera. They both will work pretty good. But if you want it really, really smooth, shoot at 120 frames per second, or you can even go higher than that, depending on your camera, and then slow that thing down, and it's gonna look smooth as butter. Okay, so that's what frames per second mean. Now your resolution is your 1080, your 4K. That's how clear and sharp that image is going to be. So you see a lot of TVs right now, they got a big 4K, logo on the front dead center of the box. They say, hey, anything you watch in this television is going to be in 4K video. But anytime you're streaming, again, 4K takes a lot of resources. So when you're streaming video, you're probably looking at 1080. So I just want to kind of give you the history of how this all works. So now we got two more things we want to upload. We're going to import the logo we just made. And I believe it was this one, Impact logo demo. Okay, import that. And then that's it. So now what we want to do in this particular situation is let's drag this one over. See, we created that file for you. Let's expand this a little bit. Now watch this. Now this is Zoom, and playback video is going to look clear on my end. It may look a little choppy on your end. So I just want to warn you, it may look smooth, but if it is choppy, it's because it is a Zoom meeting. Right, so look how clear that is. Right, you can see all the crumbs flying all over the place. Now you can see the crumbs in a regular sped up video, but you can really see the crumbs and just the dramatic essence of the video when you really slow it down. Let me see if I can turn these guides off so it doesn't
What are you doing now, Joshua?
I just want to see if I can turn these guides off. Let's move this out the way. Yeah, move that over there. All right, perfect. Okay, so you see this video, right? Remember, this is your timeline. This is where all the magic is going to happen. We're going to drag the other video in. Here. Okay. Found a nice nature video. Now, I want you to pay attention to something. See this right here? Remember, this is the first video I dragged and dropped into the timeline. So it created the settings of this sequence, or this particular project, is based on 29 frames per second. The other video is 25 frames per second. The size is a little bit different. So you see these black borders on the right and left-hand side? So what do you want to do to get rid of those borders? What you want to do is click on that file. And all the changes you're going to make to any file that you see here in this timeline, all the changes you're going to make is going to happen on this, in this particular panel, right? The motion, the scale, the opacity, the volume, everything's going to take place here. All your effects is going to happen on the right side of your screen. This is called your effects panel. So your video transitions, your audio transitions, your graphics, if you're adding, you're doing your color correction. So for this particular video, I want to zoom into the video so to fill out these black borders on the right, left-hand side. And then the Premiere Pro world, zoom is called scale, okay? So your scale is right here. I'm gonna take this 100% because this is a scale when it's at 100%. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. So what I'm gonna do is put my cursor over this 100 on the left-hand side, click and just drag it in. So you can scale in or scale out. All right, that's very close. It's too far out. I'm just gonna get it a little over 100 so to just fill in the right and left borders. All right, so I'll put it in at 108.
Joshua, you have two questions. One
Yes,
from
yes.
Pearson, and they want to know, where did you get the bread video? Is it a sample provided by software?
I'm glad you asked that question. So remember the link I put in the chat? Everything you see here, I downloaded it from elements.envato.com. So Elements has what you call B-roll, a lot of stock footage that you can use and download and put into your video. So everything you see, I downloaded it from elements.envato.com. I dropped that link in the chat more towards the beginning of this webinar. And then the suite, if you want to use all the software that I'm talking about, is an Adobe Creative Cloud. And that way I just kind of keep it simple for you to be able to find what I'm using. So everything is in elements.envato.com.
And then Anita wants to know, how can you see or tell what the size is?
Oh, that's another great question too. So when you look at, let's go back to my folder. 1 second. Okay, just minimize that. I'm gonna show you my folder. And this is something you can do with any file on your computer. Premiere Pro. All right. So this is my folder, right? This is the man cutting the bread, right? So this tells you the size of the video is 1.9 gigabytes, pretty large file. And then I want to look at the info. So you can do right click and info is get info. And it's going to tell you right here. So let me see. Yeah, this is a 4K video. So 4096 by 2160. That's a 4K video. It says dimensions. So that's where you're going to see all the information about that particular file itself. As you can see, I downloaded it from elements.envato.com. That's where I got it from. And I also talked about this information when we created the website, because remember we talked about metadata, M-E-T-A data. That's why anytime you put a picture or anything that you own, any asset that you own and you're uploading it to your website, you want to make sure you edit the info of that file. Because see, if somebody was to download it and use it somewhere and you didn't upload the metadata of that file, meaning the file name, who owns that file, and they put in their website, if they download it, it won't have your ownership rights. So since I got this from elements.envato.com, it's telling you exactly where I downloaded it. So if I try to claim ownership of this file, I can't adjust the metadata of this particular file. And so if you want to know more about that, definitely check out the Wix webinar that we did maybe like 4 or 5 weeks back. And I really taught you the importance of editing this information on a particular file. Because, we're in a cold world and, we're in an internet world, and you want to make sure if you're putting anything out there that you've created, that you have definitely put your copyright information within that file, because people can't change it because you've locked it.
And Joshua, Annie Ruth wants to know, what are you moving to scale it?
Yes. So, yeah. So when you click on the file, any file you click on, you're going to see this pop up on the left-hand side. This is your effect. This is where you do all the editing of any clips down you see in your timeline. So in order to change the scale, you just take this particular number, scale, right? It's 100%, and you just slide it left to right. Oh, I'm sorry. Slide it left to right. All right, so you can zoom in closely. I can zoom out. So I'm gonna put it back at 100. Let's say you want to move that video. It's called position. You do here, you can move it left and right. You can move it up and down. All right, so let's just go back to 100. And what I did there is I just did undo. You can rotate it, a lot of things you can do here, but everything you do to the video, you can control right here. Go back. Opacity, let's say you want to put something behind it, control the opacity of it there. And yes, that's all I want you to know now. The thing is, I gotta show you the foundation before I get super fancy with you, because once I build the foundation with you, then everything else is going to be even easier because you understand the basics. If I just come in here and I say, hey, I'm going to show you how to do some anchor points and how to slow it down and speed it up and then transition here, you're going to be like, wait a minute, how did you even get to that point? So as long as I can show you the basics and the foundation, then everything else after that is going to be much easier. It's like teaching you how to read music, right? And then playing an instrument. Because if I teach you just how to play the instrument and then, hey, I want you to join our band and play this song, and you're like, wait, but I don't know how to read the music, you won't be able to participate. But I show you how to read the music, then you can play anywhere, right? So that's what I'm doing. I thought it was a pretty good analogy. Just came up with that, you know. Yeah.
Pat yourself on the back.
Yeah, you know. All right. But here, so you got your stuff in the timeline. Oh, there's one other thing I want to do. I'm going to add some music to this. So I'm going to right click again, import. And I got this song right here.
Okay, while you're doing that, Anita wants to know, what are the horizontal and vertical lines show in the view screen? What do they show?
That's a great code. These are your guides, right? And I'm going to show you why this is important. Let me put a logo here. This is just guides for you, so you know where things are on your screen. So I'm going to drag Inback's logo here. So let's say you want the logo to overlay your video. Remember, all of your assets are in the bottom left quadrant of your screen in this box. So anything you want to appear in this box, you're going to drag it from this box over here, right? And you're going to create layers, just like Photoshop, just like Canva. Everything is layered, right? Just like we did in the website design, everything is layered, all right? Canva, everything. So again, what do you want to move? You want to scale this. So we want to move this because we got the guides. We want our logo to be like right in this little corner of these guides here. So I'm going to adjust it. I'm going to adjust the position and I'm going to adjust the scale. So I'm going to move that logo left. All right, this is why the guides are important. And I'm going to go down right there. Okay, I'm going to scale out because the logo is a little bit too large. There. And there. And that's why that logo isn't, that's why these guys are important. So you know you can frame things up, because maybe I want the logo on the left-hand side and I want a partner's logo on the right-hand side. And I want to make sure that they are equal as far as location on the left and right side of the screen. Because if I didn't have these guides, it'd be very difficult. You can probably eyeball it, but it won't be symmetric. It may be a little off. So that's what these guides are for, just to, so you know where things are on your screen. But when you export, these guides will not show up on your video. Did I answer your question? I want to make sure. All right, perfect. So remember that video that we made? Now this right here, again, this is your timeline. So the length of this video, if you want to change the length of how long this logo is going to be on the screen, we're going to take this, see this little bar here on the right-hand side, take it and just drag that out for how long you want it to be on your video. And that's it. Okay, so V1, V2, V3, these are all your video clips. A1, A2, A3, these are all your audio clips. I have some music here. So I'm going to drag this in. I want this to play on every single clip. Anything above it is going to be over it, but there's no other audio. So this is what you're going to hear. Audio Jungle. Hey, that linked up just right. Yeah. Did you see the dramatic feel of that? And it's just slicing bread, right? So the music brought an entire different emotion. Now, we got to spice it up even more. I need that logo at the beginning. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drag this little box because I wanna select everything you see, and I'm gonna move it out of my timeline. Okay. So I'm just gonna drag it, click it, drag it left and right. Okay. Then I'm gonna drag the logo in that we made. In-back logo right here. So now you can see what the logo looks like. Let's play that. Oh, you know what to do, right? See, this box is very small. So what do we need to do, ladies and gentlemen? Anybody want to take a guess?
No
Exactly.
guesses.
Yes. Okay. You follow me. We got a scale. Who said that?
That was Shardrina. Shardrian.
Yes. I want to make sure I'm not messing it up, but you got it correct. So we're going to scale this. I'm going to take a wild guess, but this looks like a 200% scale. Let me just type that in. Oh, even more. Let's go. Let's do 215. All right, so let's go back and play it from the top. Yeah. See that logo? You see how they came in? Nice. It's very clean. Okay. Now, so we have all this gap here, right? So we got this gap. If you don't feel this gap, it's just going to go black. Now, for the moment, because I'm editing, I'm just going to mute this line. How do you mute any audio on this line? Just select this M, you see, on A2, hit M, and it's going to mute everything. That way you don't keep hearing it, that choppiness, right? So now I want to empty this gap. There's a couple of different ways you can do it. Is you can, again, highlight everything and just drag it to where it connects here. Or I can just right click and hit ripple delete. And it's going to bring everything to the right of that gap, right up to the previous clip. Now, we want to go from this to that clip. Now, when I say transitions, there's a couple of things you can do. You can have a hard transition, or you can do a smooth transition. Now, how do you do that? On the right-hand side of your screen, video transitions. That smooth transition is called dissolve. That's probably one that you've seen in movies where it like fades into the next image, very clean, very smooth. That's called dissolve. These other transitions are more like, you know, I don't know. They're more, what's the word? They're not, I don't know. They're just like you're trying to do too much, right? We don't need a page pill. You can do that, but we want to see that smoothness, right? And that smoothness just shows maturity. That's what I'm looking for. And so that cross dissolve is what it's going to give you that. Now this cross dissolve is going to give you that fade to black at the end of the video. Maybe you want it to fade out, right? So let me just do this right quick. Let's undo the ripple delete. So we want this to dip, so it's called dip to black. What you're going to do is click here, drag it, drop it right on the end of that clip. Okay, watch this. Fades to black. Okay, right now there's a couple things you can do. In the beginning of this clip, it fades in, right? But this clip doesn't fade in. It just goes from black to boop. I want it to fade in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do cross dissolve. I'm going to drop that here. You can do dip to black as well. It's a slightly difference, but I like to use that cross dissolve into the video. So watch this. Let me see something. It's a dip to.
Okay, Joshua, Gloria wants to know, is there a good free video editor that you can insert part of a song in your video? She said she's doing a PSA.
Free video editor. It's a good question. I'm not knowledgeable. I'm pretty sure there is, but I'm not sure of one that any specific one that I would recommend. But I'm pretty sure there is one that you can do that at no cost. I don't know it off the top of my head, because I've always used. I got one for you. iMovie. I know you can use iMovie if you're using a Mac, and I don't know what that would be on Microsoft. That may be what is it, Movie Maker, where you can be able to do that. Oh, there you go one, DaVinci Resolve. I've heard of that one as well. But yeah, but I'm pretty sure there's some really good ones out there. Oh, that's why. Let me bring this in. And then go to the back. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to ripple delete this. So let me do it. I can drag it too. And then cross dissolve. Oh, that's why. Drag this in, give it something to work with. And then cross dissolve. Okay. So now what I'm doing is I'm blending two videos in. So we're going to transition from one video into the next, and we're going to blend the two together at the end. So if you want to add a transition onto a clip when it's together, so you see these two are stuck together, you're going to go to your cross dissolve. You're going to drag that clip, and then you're going to put it right in between the two like that. Okay, so you can see this is cross dissolving into the next one. So let's see what happens. Hold on. I was giving me that out. Sequence. One second. It didn't do what I want. That doesn't look like how I want it to look. Ah, that's why. Okay, got it. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, where your file is. I'm editing on video 2, which is where the logo is, and I wanted to transition to the bread video. So that's why I do it. All right, we're back in business. Let me clear the in and out. So we're going to take this cross dissolve, drag and drop, and watch this. Let's go here. Nope. A little bit. There we go. Okay, now watch this. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Now it looks like a professional is behind that, right? So let's do some music. We're gonna unmute this line. Nice. And that's it. So you got a tutorial on all the basics here, okay? Now there's one last thing I want to show you. We're running just a little short in that time. Just the last thing I want to show you is how do you edit the color, okay? So what you want to do is click on that clip that you want to edit. You're going to go to, you see what it says lumetri color? You're going to click this, and this is very straightforward. And this is where you're going to adjust all the coloring of that particular clip, right? So we want to be a little bit more sharper. Maybe you want to brighten up that saturation, those yellows, okay? You got some shadows. Maybe you want to make it a little bit more dramatic with those shadows, some highlights, the contrast, right? And now you can see that? This is where you adjust all the coloring of the clips down in your timeline. So very quickly last, let's export this. So I'm just gonna cut these a little bit more short. We want this to fade to black. We don't want it just to be a hard stop like this. Watch this. We don't want that. We want it to fade to black. So what do? We go to Effects, Video Transitions, dip to black, dip to black. And you want your audio. Audio is the same way. You got video transitions. You have audio transitions. Crossfade, exponential fade. Okay. Now, in order to export, make sure you're in your timeline area. You can see because the box is highlighted. Click there. You're going to go to File. Same thing in Adobe After Effects. Export. Here's a little different because you're going to do media. This is your render queue. QuickTime. Let's do. Yeah. I guess that's fine. No, we want to do MP. We're going to do Impact 4.
So what are you doing now?
I'm getting ready to export it. Let's see here. There we go. Change your format to H.264. Okay. And that's where we can choose what we want to do. Just for the sake of time, we're going to export it in 720. Okay. Now you're going to select output. Where do you want it to go to? I want it to go to Impact 2020 Webinars Premiere Pro. And then we're going to save it here. Change the output name. Save. And hit export. Don't hit Q because it added to a queue. You want to hit export. This is going pretty fast. Now, again, remember, we're exporting in 720. So if I was to export in 1080 or 4K, it'd take a little bit longer, and the file size would be much higher than 48 megabits. So video is done. Let's decrease this, minimize it. Let's go here. Here's the file, the .mp4. Double click it, and drag it over. Then you can see it. Let's watch it.
Audio Jungle.
And there's the video that we just made. And that's it. Yep. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are 2 minutes over. You know, we're only done right at 12, but I hope you guys learned a lot here. Again, this is on demand, so you may have to watch it a couple of times, but I hope this has been beneficial and that you saw some value to it. It's been a pleasure. And yeah, if you guys have any questions, you can definitely reach out to Ms. Deborah, or you can reach out to myself, and we'll make sure we get you in the right direction and get you some help. So, Ms. Deborah, the mic is yours.
Well, I just want to thank everyone. I want to thank Joshua Reed, CEO and founder of Influ, social media automated app. Please check him out. I want to thank all the participants for joining us today and sharing your valuable time with us. I'm Deborah Davis, Regional Director of the Minority Business Assistance Center at the African American Chamber of Commerce. Thank you so much. Have a great day, everyone. And we look forward to seeing you next week when we have, what's next week? Appointment scheduling automation.
Yeah,
that's what we'll be talking about next week. So please join us next Wednesday, same time, same place, and we're going to have a ball. So take care, everyone. Thank you, Joshua. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.